Hey guys, Leah Michelle, Resistance Chicks coming at you March 24th, 2017. We are bringing you part 2 of the Trump data dump wiretap Devin Nunes. Devin, sorry.
I keep saying David too. All right, so he's on Sean Hannity to explain. He really felt that he had to get these out there, and he is under a lot of fire right now. A lot of fire. He is a true American.
House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes, he dropped the bombshell and all the news that following the November election that the Trump transition team and their communications were captured by intelligence community surveillance. After being briefed by Chairman Nunes, President Trump, well, he said he felt somewhat vindicated by this revelation. Check this out.
Did you feel vindicated by Chairman Nunes coming over here?
I somewhat do. I must tell you, I somewhat do. I very much appreciated the fact that they found what they found. I somewhat do.
And joining us now, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Devin Nunes, a congressman from California. Congressman, thank you for being with us. Let's go over what it is that you said the other day, which has now gotten a lot of play, and that is, in fact, surveillance took place in November, December, and January of the president-elect, his transition team. What else do you know?
Well, what bothers me is what I was able to review. It looks like it was in November, December, and January. Those reports are concerning to me, and I briefed the speaker, and then I spoke to the news media publicly, and then went to brief the president on what I saw, because I think it's important that he sees it.
The president then said that he felt vindicated over his claims that he felt he was, well, he said wiretapping, but surveillance wiretapping, in my view, were just really parsing words. But he was picked up, at least in an incidental way. Can you give us more detail about it?
Well, it's tough for me to get into it, right, because I've only read the reports, so I don't know all the intelligence that went into it. But to me, it's clear that I would be concerned if I was the president. And that's why I wanted him to know. And I felt like I had a duty and obligation to tell him, because, as you know, he's been taking a lot of heat in the news media. And I think to some degree, there are some things that he should look at to see whether, in fact, he thinks the collection was proper or not.
All right. What about this process? Because we got to go back. I think you would agree with me that the unmasking, if we have our intelligence community doing their job, and I want to emphasize that I have great faith in our intelligence community, and they provide this country with safety and security. It is a necessary evil in an evil world, right? But in the process of surveilling anybody from any foreign country, which they have a right to do and an obligation to do, if an American is picked up on that call, isn't it standard operating procedure, sir, that they don't unmask the identity of the American,
right?
Doesn't matter who it is, and that when they write up the report, they usually would not include the name of that person or details. They would minimize what they actually say the American is saying. Isn't that standard operating procedure?
But I think there's a couple different issues at play here. So names, for sure, if they're picked up in any incidental collection of any kind, they should be minimized. However, the other issue you're bringing up is unmasking. So if there was an unmasking of a name, additional names, we need to know who requested that unmasking, why, what was the purpose.
So they cover up the names, and then you unmask the names. So if they were the problem is names were unmasked after they were covered up, and there was 9 individuals involved.
For unmasking, because it should be pretty rare that American names are unmasked. And that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of, and we're hopeful that we get some of the information tomorrow so that the rest of our committee can review it.
And then that would also mean that in the case of General Flynn, not only did an unmasking take place, but also an intelligence leak, which, as I understand it, never happens in a case where signal intelligence such as this is, in fact, obtained. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've never heard of that happening before, and as I've said many times, the only crime that we know has been committed here is that one, and it's quite clear that it was a crime. And, you know, look, I think you said it right, Sean. These programs are vitally important to the security of our country, and that's why we take this seriously here in Congress to conduct our oversight. And clearly, when I see a problem, I'm going to point it out.
And the case of any type of leak, that would be a violation of the Espionage Act. That would be a felony. That would be 5 years potentially in prison.
That's correct, and that it appears like that happened, right? I mean, we won't know until we got all the details, but from my perspective, it appears like that was a crime.
And that raises another question, because you talked about it being widely dispensed within the intelligence community, meaning many people saw the surveillance of the president-elect and his transition team, and they were identified. Then it goes to the issue of how many people had access to it. 2 weeks before President Obama left office, he modified Executive Order 12333, which allowed the sharing of this type of intelligence, which had never happened before with 16 other agencies. Is there a possibility that was done so that leaks could be covered up, sir?
Well, in the reports that I read, they were clearly disseminated far and wide, and I don't think it actually has anything to do with the change in that procedure. But what I saw was disseminated pretty far. And in many cases, you have to wonder why, which is why I raised the question.
But prior to that modification of Executive Order 12333, it was not usual practice to widely disseminate. So certainly, they had to look. If this happened in November and December, that didn't happen until January. The alteration of 12333. Is there anybody that you saw that had dissemination of these documents?
Well, I don't want to get in the weeds here, Sean. I don't believe that change impacted what I saw. Okay. But with that said, I will say that the dissemination was pretty far and wide. And like I've said before, I think it appears to me that it was all legal. The question is should it have been done in the first place? Did it meet foreign intelligence value? And then secondly, were any other American names unmasked? And I have information that says that there were.
Do you question whether or not it was necessary for surveillance? In other words, when you read, okay, so-and-so was talking to so-and-so, did you get the impression why would this be surveilled in the first place?
Look, I think there is, in a lot of what I saw, there is a lot of foreign intelligence value. I mean, look, our analysts do a really good job. Our intelligence agents do a great job. And so, what it was on the margins. There were things that I'm just not sure should have been included into an intelligence report. And then surely there shouldn't have been an unmasking of additional Americans' names.
Congressman, did you see any legal issues that would worry the president in any way, shape, manner, or form?
No, and I've said that too. What I saw had nothing to do with Russia. This has nothing to do with the Russia investigation. But it was important enough that I thought the President of the United States should know what is being said about him and his transition team.
The FBI director did confirm, now it is usual practice, and I've heard James Comey say it itself, that they don't comment on potential or ongoing investigations. He did confirm an investigation into Russian influencing of the election, but he wouldn't confirm. Right. He wouldn't confirm whether or not there will be an investigation, and you pressed him hard on the issue of whether or not those people leaking intelligence, whether that's being investigated. It seems to me that the FBI director shouldn't be able to have it both ways.
Yeah, I mean, look, the leak investigation or lack of a leak investigation is quite concerning. We need to make sure that these leaks are being tracked down, and it's part of our investigation is to make sure that we do try to find who was at least knowledgeable of the information that eventually got leaked.
One last question. In terms of the ability, if you look at the leak of General Flynn, we know that's a felony. You agree that's a felony. Mm-hmm. Is this something that would have to come? Could this happen at a low level, or is this something that would have to happen at a very high level, meaning a director or just below a director? In other words, who would actually have access to that type of intelligence?
Well, if we do expect that his name was unmasked, I think the key would be able to figure out who actually unmasked the name and who requested that unmasking. There has to be a record of that. Once we can get a hold of that, we'll know a lot more from there.
Yeah, and so
I'm sure they're
do you suspect then that people will go to jail over this?
Well, once you understand who did the unmasking, then you have to know who it was pushed down to. What's the complete audience of people that would have had the name, and then you kind of know at least your initial folks that would know about it.
I think that also goes back to 12333 because it could have been now 16 other agencies involved that maybe something hand-delivered and not sent over electronic device. Sir, I appreciate.
Okay, so what I kind of wanted to add there just a little bit, because he kind of said everything. I was going to leave him with his eyes open. So what they're saying here is that something illegal was definitely done, right? There's some major things of concern here. But when I was listening to Comey is a snake. He is a very evil person. He oversaw Hillary's debacle, as he would call it. No big deal, right? It was probably the main reason why everybody in the Democratic Party turned their back on her, because they could see, listen, you're a snake too, right? So Comey, I watched him under oath when he's talking back with Trey Gowdy and some of these other guys. He was just not giving them an inch, and it was like he had a smirk on his face, and he went so far as to say, well, you know, there was another great president and he had leaks too. And he was George Washington.
Oh, yeah.
He said George Washington had leaks too. Like, basically what he was saying was, it's no big deal. These things shouldn't happen, but they happen. They are going more after this Russia-Trump connection. Like, oh, Comey's like, we're going to get him. We're going to get him. Yeah, we're going to get him. We're going to get this Trump thing. We're going to get this. Yeah, Russia hacked our election. Russia hacked it. I know Russia influenced our election, is what he kept saying. Was Russia through RT and all these things. They totally influenced the election, because everyone in America watches RT, right?
Well, but I mean, to go back to that, so what if they influence the election? You're allowed to influence elections.
Do you know how many elections we're influencing at this very moment? Do you know Obama went over to Great Britain and was like, don't vote for Brexit, don't vote. Isn't that influencing in somebody's election?
Yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Isn't that?
Patriot Gallery.
Well, I was just thinking about Comey when I was watching the other day. Hillary was mad that her emails were leaked. And so she told Comey, as a queen, you're going to start a war with Russia, because she said, I'm going to start a war. Whoever did this to me, they're going to die. And if it's all the American people, we start a war with Russia, I'm going to kill them all.
Right.
And Comey is working for his queen.
He is kind of like a dog on a chain.
Crimes. He doesn't work for American people. He doesn't work for the FBI. He works for the queen. He works for Hillary.
He is not going after these leakers. Okay, here's the thing. They have all of this information, right? But they can't find the person who leaked it.
It would take nothing for them to find. Listen, if they can't find out who leaked this information, then they're not good at their job, and the CIA and the FBI and the NSA all just need to shut down because you're not good.
If you can't find out who did it, you know who did it.
It's in your own record.
Of course you know who did it. And then, like, you've got Congress and everybody trying to, like, hey, can we look? Can we find this out? They're like, no, we got it. You already know there's a
I love internal investigations.
Internal, it's like the Federal Reserve.
We will audit ourselves. We're auditing ourselves.
It's like going into a daggone prison and saying, you know, did you lock your cell door at night? Is your door locked? Is it okay? Everybody raise your hand if you locked your cell door.
Yeah.
And then all the prisoners stick their hand out the...
yeah, we did it.
Of course we did. The CIA is leaking like mad all over the place.
Like an incontinent old person.
All right,
just everywhere.
What I'm going to take you to now is that the House Intelligence Committee, the hearing with Comey, and I want you to hear some of his idiotic words. But what he does say is, we haven't found any proof between Russia and Trump yet. Yet. They always say, like, yet.
Everything is misspeak. Everything is a diversion. Everything is to...
diversion.
Yeah. All right, you guys, this is Lee Michelle signing off for Resistance Chicks, where it's not a conspiracy theory. If it's the truth, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Don't forget to ring the bell for notifications and find us on Facebook and Twitter.
This is his face the whole time. That was is this for real face? This isn't really happening? Yes, it's really happening.
All right, bye, guys.
I was cold all alone, no place for home, every day so afraid, but you called my name.